and welcome to the Hormonal Mama podcast. I'm your host, Kara Drescher, and today on the show, I am talking with Jaclyn Strominger. Jaclyn is an incredible coach that helps women at very important, pivotal moments in their lives. She helps with accountability. She helps with career and life changes. Jaclyn is so incredible, and she has a really rich, really interesting history in magazine publishing as well as coaching. So I think you will love this episode. So stick around, and Jaclyn and I will be right back. Hi, Jaclyn. Welcome back to the show. I am so excited to have you here. I know we talked back in the fall, but we are back talking today, and I'm psyched to talk to you again. But I'm also psyched because of this exciting direction that your business is going. So before we get into that, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Kara, thank you for having me. I know I love talking to you. I feel like we could always talk for hours. So
Totally.
So
go on and on and on. Nothing wrong with that. I love talking with you. You know, the last few times that we talked, I know the first time we talked, I was dealing with an ear infection, so everything was kind of nuts. But even with that, even when I wasn't feeling well and everything was crazy, I really enjoyed talking with you. And I'm really excited to jump in with you today because you are a coach. And I know just before we pressed record, I was telling you how excited I was because you do a lot of things as a coach. And some of these things are free, not some, they're all important. Some of them particularly out in my mind, like accountability. That's a huge one. So before we before we jump into the specifics, let's talk a little bit about how you became a coach. What inspired you to be a coach? You know, that's always something that fascinates me as a fellow coach. I love hearing other people's stories because they're also unique, but I also almost always find similarities. So tell me a little bit about your journey to becoming a coach.
So it has been something that has been sitting in my head for a while. So if you go back to when I got out of college and I was in this, I'm probably a little bit more unique, I think, than some people. When I was in college, I knew that when I got out, I wanted to go into magazine publishing. That was my journey. That's what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. But then I got there and then it was like, now what?
Right.
Like, what's the now what? Right. And I never had a mentor in my industry really to help guide me to move forward and move on. And I was doing it myself. And so then, I noticed as I grew up or expanded my career in publishing that a lot of people were coming into the industry or coming in and working for me, and I'm trying to lead them. And it's a lot of people were coming out of school without a direction. So that was sticking in my head. Like, I would love to be able to help people create a direction. Yeah. Fast forward, I had met my husband. We moved to New York. We moved from New York City to Boston, and I actually did a little stint as a recruiter. And a lot of people were sitting in front of me. And same thing. It's like I've gone to college. I've had this first job. Now what? Like, what do I do? Okay. And so it's been resonating with me. And then even when I had my first child, I remember sitting in a room around with a bunch of moms, and there was like, it's just a huge pivotal point in our life. Mm-hmm. And it's like, do you go back to work? Do you not go back to work? Work is part of a lot of people, it's our identity, what we do. And so I kept thinking, that's where I want to also help people too, because I know where I wanted to be. And I actually was working with somebody that was sort of, that I connected with, that was helping me work through that. And so then again, fast forward again, there were all these other times where I made a huge transition. I did go back to work as a mom, but then there was one time I woke up in the morning and I was like, uncle, literally, like, I can't do this. I'm paying somebody so much to take care of my kids, the daycare, oh my God, I was living in Boston, and if you've ever lived in a big city, the commute is ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
So So I was able to just like that morning, I was able to just kind of cut things off and pivot. Not everybody can do that, but I also had somebody that so I had found a new industry. I started to get into network marketing and I started working with somebody, and through all big changes I was working with somebody. So all of that made me kind of, you put all those things together. I finally was getting to the point where I really want to be able to give back and
Mhm.
help other people in lots of different areas. And so I've been through coaching programs and I just said, you know what? I really need to start helping other people. I see a need and
Yeah.
it's not, and I don't, so, my website is, and what my business is, it's Leap to Your Success. It's not, I don't want to be your life coach. I want to help you take those leaps in life.
Yeah.
And and to me, that's a little bit different. I'm like, I was saying to somebody like, so what do you do? I'm like, I help people leap. I'm like, I'm a leaper. I'm like,
I
wait,
love
not a
that.
leper, not a leaper. I'm a leaper.
The important distinction.
Right.
Totally.
So it's been really, I guess it's been a long time coming. And that's, and I've had people through network marketing and through other things where I have helped them, uh and where it's, I still, what resonates with me and why this is so important to me, where I've had people say to me, you're the first person that's believed in me.
Yeah.
And that is where I want to help take that, where I can do that for somebody in all parts, whether it's being a mom or it's going from corporate to mom to something else
Yeah.
to making a move across the country. I mean, like, those are things where I really want to be able to help.
I love that. And I think that is unique. You know what I mean? Like being a coach means so many different things. And I really like that you have that distinction. And I love I really particularly liked how you're saying you call yourself a leaper, not a leper, a leaper. Like I said, big distinction. Let's make
Big
that very
distinction.
clear.
Right.
Very, very clear. But it is something really important because there are times in our lives, like you were talking about, one of those things is, motherhood and becoming a mom and trying to figure out, okay, what is next? What's my next step? What do I want to do? But then how do I do it? You know what I mean? It's not just how can I word what I'm saying? It's what I really like about you what you were saying is it's helping people figure that out, but also helping them do it.
Yep.
And helping them take that leap. Like you said, I just love that so much because that's what it's about. And life is full of these weird pivotal things, especially for women. Motherhood is one of those big things. And I mean, there are other things too. But when you kind of get to that point where you're like, I want to make a change or I want to do this or whatever, it can be overwhelming. It can
Yeah.
be intimidating. And all of that overwhelm and intimidation, you kind of end up getting in your own head. And it's very, very hard to take the next step because you get over, like, at least that's like my experience, right? I get so, or I did, I should say, got so stuck in my head about, okay, what do I want to do? And then once I finally figured it out, which someone could have helped me, I wish that I had reached out for someone to help me. Then it became, okay, how do I do that? And it's not just about like the technical steps. It's about like digging deep and finding in yourself how to do it. And that is exactly what you do as a coach is help
Yep.
people to do
And
that.
and we're helping them do that. And what I find that has been what I think a lot of people think about, and also when you think about like New Year's resolutions, I mean, we're still in the beginning part of 2023,
Yeah.
is that people like make this humongous list, right? Of all the things that they want to do. And even so, and even if it's that, it's like you have to be like, you can't do it all. Like pick the things that are going to have, that for you are going to create the biggest impact this year that we can work on. And I always like to break it down into personal and professional,
Hmm.
or just, or personal and family. Like, what are the things that are going to relate to you? And let's focus on a couple of those things and do that. And then you're going to see that success and the other stuff can follow. But,
Brilliant.
and but even in, and even when some helping somebody try to figure out the next steps, like going from being corporate to mom, or to mom to back, it's a lot of it also has to, as you were just saying, digging deep in here inside of you to find out what's going to resonate, so that when you are getting up in the morning,
Mhm.
or when you are leaving your kids, that you're feeling good about it because it makes you feel good to do the other thing.
Yes. Like so much of what you're saying reminds me of that whole like identity thing that happens. I mean, I know that happened for me, and I know we've talked about this before, but for me, I went through such a lengthy infertility struggle that sort of became my identity, right? And
Yeah.
then I had my kids and it was like, hey, this is my identity. I'm a mom. And I kind of got lost in that for a while, which, I think in the beginning is kind of to be expected. You kind of just can't help it. Life has completely changed than any
Right.
differently than it's ever been. But then it can be really hard to come out of that and almost find yourself again, right? And then look at, okay, maybe this doesn't have to be my identity, but how about I figure out what my identity is, right? That's sort of where my brain
Yeah.
went with what you're saying. And
Yeah. No, because you have to become you.
yeah.
Like, you have to become uniquely you, and you being who you are makes is made up of all of those things. But so much of who we are before kids is a corporate life. And so it's kind of like, let's define ourselves for who we really are. And all those, so, if this is us, all those other bits become parts of spokes on a wheel,
Mhm.
right? Off of it. So it's kind of making us that nuclear part of that wheel. And
Yes.
it's different, right? I mean, it's not,
Absolutely.
I think so many of us, at least I know I also did too. It's like my whole life before was, okay, it's my corporate. I'm in magazine publishing.
Mhm.
Yes, I am in magazine publishing. That's not really who it didn't have to define me.
Right. It's
So
part of you.
it's part of me. And so
Yes.
much of it does. And so that's where I love just being able to help people, make that shift. And then the other part of what I'm loving about is also helping people be accountable, because so much of what we do, right? Like,
Mhm.
I was thinking about this, it's like, through through my success in network marketing, one of the biggest things and where I saw my greatest success was when I was working with somebody on, and they were and we it was accountability, like, every week. It was
Yep.
like, you know, and it wasn't that I knew that I couldn't do all of those things myself. It's having that accountability partner, and
Yes.
somebody that you're working with that's helping you, direct you through the next steps, and then working through the setbacks too, like, because we always, everything, like those highs and lows, you could call it the roller coaster of life, entrepreneur roller coaster, whatever you want to call it. There's highs and lows. So when you do get one of those things, we always talk about, I mean, people talk about this all the time, the breakthrough is working through it,
Mhm.
and you get stronger. But then it was like helping, like, I want to be able to help people go through that, because so many people hit that low and stop.
Yeah. It's true.
So it's, you know, moving beyond that, and it's kind of fun to to see people's success as they get
Yes.
through that,
Oh,
and to,
absolutely.
and cheer
It's
them on.
it's the best feeling when you see someone reach a goal,
Yeah.
essentially, right? And knowing that they worked so hard to get there is like, I mean, at least for me, it's like, oh, I need to throw a party. So
Right.
excited because it is a big deal. We're talking about accountability, and I know for me, accountability is huge. I like to think that I'm the person, I have this whole list of things I'm going to do and they're all going to get done. And well, let's be honest, as
Right.
ambitious as you can be, and I'm one of those people, when I say ambitious, it's a problem sometimes, but having someone to help hold you accountable, help you make sure you're, I mean, to really break it down simply, making sure that you're doing the things you say you want to do is so powerful, right? I mean, I know, again, I know in my experience in life, if I don't have that, I tend to just think I'm superwoman. I'll hold myself accountable. I'm going to say I'm going to do it, therefore I'm going to do it. And even if I have every intention of doing it and I want to do it, and even if I do it, is not always the case, let's be honest.
Right.
You have someone there, that accountability partner. There's a different feeling that you get, right? It's, on the one hand, if you complete something that you set out to complete and you say, "Yeah, I'm so proud of myself, I did it." And you're so excited, you throw yourself a party, all that good stuff. But when you have the accountability person, there's another level of feeling proud of yourself. Now I know it kind of goes back to the, "Oh, I didn't let that person down. Yay." And that's, I think that's just sort of part of it. I'm not saying that's the drive for it,
Right.
but it helps, right? Because you feel like you did it for yourself, but that person was there to cheer you on,
Yeah.
to support you, to have to throw you that party, even if it's just clapping or saying "yay, woohoo" and toasting or something. There's power in having someone else help you with the accountability. I keep saying the word accountability. It's just, I
Yeah.
say it so many times and I'm
Be-
like, oh.
But it's true. I think that is I think back to, different things in my career in different parts. And I always think if it was early on, like two couple things, like early on when if I had somebody that was holding me accountable to making those next steps and moves, yes, I knew like I had to get certain things done to get, a mailing out. I had to get things done to keep, I was in magazine publishing. So it's like you had to get things done and I had that. But that's in the business, but where is it in my actual life and in my career and where I was going, that's where I was missing accountability and direction too. So, you know, could I have gone on a different path? I mean, obviously loving my trajectory, but I always also think back to people that I have seen. It sounds kind of goofy when I say this, but like, so when my kids were little, I had this one babysitter, kind of a couple of babysitters. And one of them, I just was so impressed because they were, here is like, and it was a guy, a boy babysitter, a guy
I like that.
babysitter.
Hey, boy
And
babysitter.
right. But I was just very impressed by, the responsibility of him being in a corporate job. So just get out of school, but still doing something else to obviously to make additional income.
Hmm.
And there were some babysitters that we had, and I was really impressed by that. And I kept thinking, these are some of the things that I also want to be able to bring and share with other people, not about working that extra part, but I remember him sitting there talking about like he was working with his advisor from college about what he wanted to do. And that really resonated too with me because I
Yeah.
kept thinking that is something I think that we need more of.
Hmm.
And we all need more of that. So planning so that we have direction. And so it's not just accountable for the daily actions, but it's like for accountability and and direction for where we want to go.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while, sometimes we may have to take a detour, which is okay. But having somebody that's got your back to help you through that.
Oh, for sure. And I think you're right. It can be hard to plan ahead sometimes. I mean, I know I'm the queen of not planning ahead. Planning ahead stresses me out, but then when I get to the point, I'm like, I didn't plan. Oh, it's hard. It becomes more stressful. So I totally agree with you there. I think that that's really um can't think of a good word. Great. It doesn't
Mhm.
quite
Yeah.
encapsulate what I'm trying to say, but it's important to have
Yeah.
that, and I think you're totally right with the accountability aspect. Yeah, day-to-day stuff, accountability, absolutely great. But there's so much more.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know I look, you know, I look back at all of the things in my life and I'm like, man, if I had just had that plan,
Yep.
or at least even a skeleton of a plan is fine. The bones, I don't need the whole thing, just a general idea. I mean, ultimately, I'd probably do much better if I had a very detailed plan, but nothing ever goes according to plan. But having that
Right.
accountability along the way for those things doesn't have to be specific tasks. It's just, I don't know. I think that that's a really, really great point that you make.
Yeah.
And I think that can make a huge difference in someone's life, no matter what is happening. It's just accountability is just something I never thought of when I was younger, or maybe I didn't understand. And it's so bizarre to me that as I get older, that word comes up more and more and more, and it becomes more, I don't know, just louder in a
Yeah.
way, that it's that realization that that's just part of being able to function in life. I
Yeah.
don't know. I keep going back to that. I know I'm like really harping on this accountability thing, but gosh, it's just
Yeah.
like, "Ugh." And so I'm too many words in my mouth at
Yeah.
once or in my head or something. I'm not sure. But that was one of the really, really exciting things for me. You know, you do a number of different things in terms of coaching, which is
Yeah.
pretty incredible. But when it comes to that one aspect, that's another thing. I never knew it until the past couple of years that there was such a thing as an about accountability coach.
Yeah.
Like, what? That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Because that's very, to me, that's very specialized. That's not something that just anybody can do. Yes, anybody can be an accountability partner. Easy. I mean, if you're motivated.
Right.
But to be an accountability coach, that's different. And it's, I don't know, I just think that's something really special. Like I said, I keep harping on the word accountability and I can't help it because I know how essential, how important that can be and is in people's lives.
Yeah.
So
No, it is.
I do kind of have a thought here that I want to ask you. What would you say is your favorite thing that you do in terms of coaching? What is the thing that you feel really touches you the most in your heart? I know that's kind of an out there question. I know I didn't,
Yeah.
mention that before, but that's just something I'm thinking about because I think I personally, the longer that I'm in the coaching industry, the more excited I get, the more special coaches become to me and the different things that we all offer to people. And it's so that's always just something interesting to me to kind of like pick your brain a little bit and say what resonates with you the most that you do to help people in terms of coaching.
So I think one of the biggest things that for me, the thing that resonates the most and that I love most, and it kind of can go into different parts, is I really, really love helping people decide on a path
Yeah.
and making again, not being so cliche and making that leap. So I've got a person that I'm coaching with, and she is literally taking a leap from going from being in the corporate world to going into making her own side hustle, and helping her go through that, and also help her, I mean, as she's doing it, also helping her with business ideas and things that she can do for that. And that, it just, it's so rewarding, and I guess it's like the MasterCard Priceless moment when you can actually say to like help somebody say, "Okay, this is the right choice for you,"
Hmm.
or help people just realize that it's not the right thing,
Yeah.
right? Like, might be able to say to being able to say, to come to the conclusion and saying, "Please don't beat yourself up trying to do this when you realize it's honestly not the right thing for you."
Yeah.
And helping people be okay with that is also really important.
Definitely. Definitely.
So that's what I really I guess love that part about what I'm doing. And it's funny because last night I did an event at a wine bar, and it was really, really funny. And I could go into realize, first of all, the wine bar, I'm just going to say this really quickly. The wine bar
Yeah.
had live music, so we couldn't hear each other speaking
Oh
really.
no.
And they didn't even, it was a little bit of a huge mix up. And that was in and of itself, the live music was comical in and of itself. But when I was talking to a couple of people, because I was talking to a couple of the women that were there, and they both were like raising their hands, like, I want to work with you. Um, but two different reasons. Like, one literally, and this is like, I'm very excited about this. One literally is coming out of a horrific relationship.
Mm,
Um, and so she's on a better path. I don't want to be her therapist because I'm not that,
right.
but just helping her make that change of even about, you know, she's lived in Nevada her whole life. And I said, well, maybe it's time for you to move. So let's work through that. Let's kind of
Yeah.
figure that out. Like, that might be something. And then the other one is she's worked for herself her entire life, and she's now working for, she actually is in a corporate job, and she's like, I need help around this
Yeah.
because I don't know if this is the right move either.
Interesting.
Right?
Very different.
Very different. But both really, like, for me, super excited to work with them
Yeah.
because helping people make those changes.
Sure. That's really, really exciting. And I can see it and hear it in your voice, the way you're talking about it. And I love that, like you said, it's two very different situations, but you
Yeah.
can help them both. And you're excited to help them
Yeah.
because it's taking a leap.
Yep.
It's what
It
it
is.
is.
Taking a leap.
And that's incredible. I love that. I'm so
Yeah.
excited. I love the leaper thing. I just love that. I think that that's really unique. It is, and it's
Yeah.
it's something really special. So I'm psyched about that.
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
really
Let's switch gears here for a couple minutes.
okay.
Let me ask you my super fun questions. I say super fun. I think sometimes they're intimidating, but I like them. So
Yeah.
my podcast anyway. Um, so let's do it this way. Tell me three people who you feel have had the most influence or inspiration on you. And that can be throughout your life, currently. It doesn't matter. This is pretty open ended. Who are those three people that you feel they really have influenced and inspired you?
This is I love this question. It's super fun, and and it's always a hard question for me.
I understand. I totally understand.
So I know this is going to sound really kind of goofy. So some of the people who have had are somewhat fictional.
Okay.
All right. So
Not goofy,
um
by the way, not goofy at all.
okay. So um Annette Benning,
Mm. Oh, she's
okay,
awesome.
she is awesome.
Yeah.
So Annette Benning in the movie The American President.
Oh my god, that is one of my favorite movies. I just love
Okay.
that movie. Mhm.
So she was this kick-ass woman,
Yes,
whatever. And
100%.
she super smart, whatever, just really awesome. And I saw that movie. I lived in Manhattan, and I saw that movie. I did this film class, and we would see movies ahead of time. And so I actually saw that movie before they even finished the full ending of it because it was
Wow,
like part of this movie class.
that's cool.
And um, it stuck with me, her performance and character in that, to the point that my daughter is named Sydney because of
Amazing.
that
I
movie.
love that.
So that's sort of one person.
And that's awesome
Um,
because she was such a strong character while also being so real and down to earth and not this fake strong where you're like, well, nobody is like that 24/7. She's still vulnerable, she's still a human being, and she so showed that in that movie. I'm sorry, that's just one of my
yeah,
favorite movies, so I'm very
yeah,
excited
no,
about that.
that's so then other people that have also inspired me in my, I guess, or been an influence. So I have worked with a coach. His name is Steve, and he has been a huge part of um, my growth, my journey, and things in my life that um, you know he's just been a big influence in my that's and so I guess part of me becoming a coach was also because he had such a huge impact with me that I want to be able to pass that do the same thing for others because it's really important. And then I've had a couple other people that have I would say that I think about, yes, my parents, like my dad and my parents worked together. So my dad was a or is still, I mean, um he is somebody that has always reinvented himself.
Oh, that's cool.
So um and you know not getting too much into my personal life with my family, but we did not growing up, he was in my life, but he was not we didn't have a great relationship.
Hmm.
um but there were things that he always has done that have always resonated with me, and so that has been a huge, I guess you could say, influence and inspiration for me too. It's
That's
something
awesome.
that's kind of weird, but we talk about we don't it's like how life has changed. I will never forget this one event with my family is that my dad was a sales rep, a salesman. He was an independent, representative for different companies. My dad always was like, the way you look really matters.
Hmm.
And I will never forget this day where we went into this clothing store in Boston, and he got like decked out in a suit. And it has stuck with me. Like I will never like I still can picture like it happened yesterday.
Yep.
My dad like getting dressed up in this three-piece suit. He's like, is I'm going to sell and I'm going to represent. I need to look the part, and you need to like it was that first lesson that you literally have 15 seconds to make a first impression.
Yep.
And it has resonated and stayed with me. And so that has always been and has been a huge, huge influence in my life.
That's
Huge.
awesome. That's awesome. And it's such an important lesson, I think, because you're right, and sometimes we don't think about that. But I don't know. It just I'm words aren't coming to me quickly
Yeah.
enough. I totally understand that, and I love those answers. I always say that because the answers to that question in particular are so incredibly personal, and it really makes you think. But it's just, I don't know, I think it's really special to think about, wow, these people have really impacted my life. And I'm just so particularly excited about Sydney. What was her last name? In The American President. Oh my
Sydney
gosh,
Allen Wade.
that's what it was. Sydney Allen Wade. Man, I mean, honestly, I love that you named your daughter Sydney, because that is a character who deserves to have people named after her. I just That's like going to stick with me the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I just love it. I love it. She's such a strong character. It's such a good role model and such an inspiration. She's not even a real person, but
No,
there are real
but it,
people like her out
right.
there. Totally.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's my second question, which is
Yeah.
similar but different. And this one is, if you could have a dinner party, I don't know, a gathering of sorts, whatever kind of gathering you like. Some people like dinner parties, so I just use that as my example. But it doesn't have to be a dinner party. It's
I
all
like
up to
dinner
you.
parties.
Awesome. So then dinner party. So you can invite three, I'm going to put people in quotes. I say this every time, but they don't have to be people. They can be fictional. They can be characters. They can be ideas, concepts. They can be cartoons, or they can be, I don't know, Muppets. I always say Muppets because the only thing I could think of other than cartoons, but it's anything. Anything goes here. Whatever, or people. I mean, they can be people. I don't
Yeah.
want you to think they can't be people. They can be anything, spirits, ghosts, you name it. And I know that's really hard because that opens up a lot and you can only have three, but there's some flexibility with this. So who would they be and why? You're
Okay.
on.
So if I could have somebody at a dinner party, I would love to have Darren Hardy because I think he's really pretty amazing. He wrote the Compound Effect, and if you've not read the Compound Effect, It's an amazing book. I highly recommend it.
Okay.
Um, that would just that would be awesome. He's pretty cool. I would um, another person that was an influence on me as a kid growing up. I'd want Barbara Streisand there.
Good one.
Okay, so Barbara Streisand, who I'm like people like Barbara Streisand, where did
Oh,
that
please. I
come
get
from?
it. She's pretty cool.
Like, and then so then the other person that I would like to have um at a dinner party, it's gonna sound, you know, kind of weird, but I would love to have Madeline Albright.
Ooh, that's not weird. Why is that weird?
I don't know. So she's like, so Darren Hardy's always been, I love people who have written books, and that Compound Effect was such a great book. And I would love to have my whole family meet him and where he, his, and whatever, just, so that would be, and yeah, just a really great person. Barbara Streisand, sort of the same thing from like, she's played such great roles, and where she came from in her life and what she accomplished. I think that's really, it's, I don't know, I think it's pretty inspirational. Uh, and um, and Madeline Albright, I heard her speak we were living in Boston. I heard her speak. She was sitting down, and she just seems like somebody you would want to just sit down like next to and just kind of connect with, and just really, you know, um, who she's seen and who she's connected with. It's just really, I think it'd be a really dynamic, kind of fun conversation with
Oh,
everybody, and it'd be
sounds
fun
like
dinner
it.
party.
Sounds like an awesome dinner party. Um, I'm excited about your dinner party. I
Come on
mean,
over.
I'm gonna try and make that happen for you. If I could, I so would. If I could make everybody's dream dinner party, all of the guests I've had on the show, if I could make everybody's dream dinner party happen, if I could just be like,
Yeah.
here we go, magic, and there's your dinner party, I would be
Right.
so excited. That would just
Yeah.
make me so happy. Oh, how incredible. Awesome. Jaclyn, those are really fun answers. I love that. All right. So I really have just one more question for you, and it's an easy one.
Yeah.
Where can our wonderful listeners find you in the world and connect with you, learn more about you and what you do, and all of these wonderful things?
So I have a website. It's leaptoyoursuccess.com, leaptoyoursuccess.com. And what I love is people, please, please, please hit contact me, because for your listeners, anybody who's listening, I want to send you a 3-minute assessment. And then when you fill that out, you get 30 minutes with me for free.
Ooh,
And we get to have a conversation. Um, and it's fun.
I love that.
So fill out the contact form, and you get that free 30-minute assessment and fill that out. Then you can also find me. I am on LinkedIn as Jaclyn Strominger. I am on Instagram and Facebook. You can find me on Facebook as Jaclyn Strominger, or also as Jaclyn's Gems, JACLYNSGEMS, Jaclyn'sGems.com. And that's also my Jaclyn's Gems. That's also my handle on Instagram.
Awesome. I will put all of that in the notes, the show notes, so that people can click and find you because
Yes.
you have so much to offer and you are in need. So that is awesome. You are in need. I think I mean to say you are in demand.
Demand.
That
Okay.
sentence, you are in need. I said it and I was like, that does not sound right, Kara. I don't think that's what I mean to say. People need
Right.
you. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say. My brain's
Yeah.
not fully functioning at the moment, apparently.
And I really do love being able to give everybody that, take the 3-minute assessment, 30 minutes free. And just being able to, I really love to be able to connect with people.
Yeah.
That's, I guess that's probably one of the things that someone said, what's the other thing that helps give you great joy? I love connecting with people. I
Yeah.
really do.
I love
I
that.
actually get really mad when I send notes to people and I'll say, hey, can we have a coffee or do a virtual coffee? And they don't respond to me. I'm like, but I just want to
I just want to
talk.
talk to you. That's all. Come on. I get that. I love connecting with people as well, and I know exactly how you feel, and I can feel it. So yes, people, talk to Jaclyn. She's awesome. Just saying. Jaclyn, I just want to take a minute here to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk with me today and really to tell me all these incredible things that you do and why you do them and what makes you so excited and passionate about it. I appreciate it. I know our listeners do. So thank you so, so much.
No, thank you, Kara. You're awesome. So, and I feel like you and I could just like, we need to have some coffee or wine too, more often.
Yeah, right? I'm there with you because, man, we could talk for a really long time. Yeah. I'm a talker, so I'm with you there. Well, thank you so, so much, Jaclyn.
Thank you.